All right, and we are live.
Hi guys, it's Kate Johnson. Of course, we have CJ Trevisano here, real winning shift tactics to survive and thrive. Today our guest is Kelsey Wozniak with EXP Realty. Kelsey is the founder and co-owner of the KTR team. Kelsey, how's it going today?
It's great. How are you guys?
Good.
Good. So Kelsey, I don't know much about you. I've heard your name from everybody. I feel like everyone's talking about you lately.
Hopefully, good
Like,
thing.
what do you do? So, walk me through where are you from? Tell me a little bit about your business. Give us the Cliff's Notes version of you.
Yeah, for sure. So originally, I'm actually from Indiana, so not from Ohio. I moved here in 2011 for a few different reasons: college, boyfriend, all the things. Same boyfriend that I'm now married to, so that worked out well. And was actually an education major, and that's what my degree is education. And right out of college, just found that I was not really loving it like I expected to. And at that time, my husband and I were about to get married and also looking to buy our first house together. And our realtor then was, she could tell that I was miserable doing what I was doing and kind of just planted a seed for me to consider real estate. I was, in my opinion, a baby, looking back, especially in this industry. And, just kind of planted a seed. And I was like, you know what? Why not give it a shot? Like, not anything I ever considered that I would do. I'm like 6 months out of this, college with, all this debt and everything. Let's try something different. Sounds great. And that was in 2015. So bought our house and literally got married same month and went on our honeymoon, came back and started my classes and got licensed that year and have been selling ever since. So that's how I got into the business. And then since then, I've pretty much always been a solo agent. There was a small amount of time that I was on a team with Jackie Bowman, but we were more just kind of, collaborating, working together, kind of same mindset, skill sets, things like that. Not really a traditional team. Did that for a little bit, back on my own. And, it was this past year that I started the real estate team that we have now. And that was something that had been in the works for several months before it actually happened. But the KTR group was launched on January 1st. And there are 6 agents right now. And we are also at this point in time growing. So we have some announcements coming soon, which is awesome. But it's been a great year for us. Kind of crazy to launch your team January 1st, find out that you're pregnant with your first baby on January 12th,
Wow.
and then hit the coronavirus in March. Like, it's just been a wild year. And my husband now works with me as well. So he's also helping run the team and is a licensed realtor. So we're officially a real estate family. So
Nice. I love that. So there's so much in there. That was great. So were you one of those people? Did you get a fast start? Were you a slow starter? Did it take you a while to get where you're at today?
I would say that the first year was definitely the hardest. I feel like just like anyone, it took me 6 months to even close a transaction. So first 6 months was a lot of like working really hard and not really seeing any results. At least I felt like I wasn't seeing any results.
Yeah.
And then it was, once I hit 6 month mark, I had my first closing, and then it kind of just snowballed from there. Ever since then, I ended up closing 10 my first year. And then ever since then, I was pretty much either tripling or doubling my business since then. To where I'm at now. So
that's great.
Sorry, CJ, I want to ask this so bad. Kelsey, we didn't get to talk about this yesterday, but I know of your most recent hires, your husband definitely was probably the most recent, right?
Yeah.
How has it been working with your husband on your team?
It's been a roller coaster. Yeah. So it's been great. There's been a lot of really awesome things about it, but it's also been a really big learning experience for me as a business owner, as a realtor, mentor, all of that, but more so for us as a couple. It's been a really cool transition for us. Like, there's been some times where it's just like we're both beating our heads, against the walls, trying to figure out like, how is this going to work? Because we're also not really doing it in the traditional sense of like, he's not the admin. He's not just another agent on the team. He's also helping lead the team. Like, there's just so many nuances that don't just fit your cookie cutter model, I guess. So we're really figuring it out as we go in some ways. But I feel like in the past month or so, we've really kind of hit our stride a little bit, and it's been going really, really well. Like, he's kind of finding his niche in it, selling and just kind of, getting going. So it's pretty awesome. I think that it's going to be a life-changing experience for us. And the first year is just kind of that, like, figure it out and, learn as you go.
So true. I love that.
What would you say is your, if you were teaching a class in real estate, what's your specialty? Like, what are you really good at in our industry, in our world?
So I feel like it's kind of something that has evolved over time. I would say since the beginning, much like Kate, I have specialized in social media branding. That's a big thing that I did from the very beginning of getting my license, that a lot of people don't really think about doing that early. And I do think that that's something that has helped my success for sure, getting where I'm at now. But I've also, in the past couple of years, I feel like I've also really honed in the craft of building lifelong relationships with clients, that I'm able to grow my business the way that I have because of the relationships that I build and staying in touch with them, and also just creating that kind of bond with them throughout the process, the trust. And I feel like that's a big thing that has contributed to like how I've grown my business for sure.
Love it. So if you were going to give me like 3 tips, if I'm a new realtor watching this, and I'm going, wow, I really want to be like Kelsey. She's crushing it. Like, I love what she's doing. I love her style. I love what she's doing in social media. What would you tell me if I was a new agent coming in and I was like, hey, how do I be like you?
Well, first thing I would say is you can't be a secret agent. You have to tell people that you're a realtor. And people told me that, and I was still nervous in the beginning because you don't know what you don't know, and you feel like you're going to say something wrong, and you cannot say something wrong. Just get out there and make sure you tell people you're a realtor. So social media is huge. Getting that going from the beginning, you have to. I mean, that is the easiest, quickest way for people to see your message. And jump in. You're not going to be perfect. It's okay. And you'll learn as you go. If I look back to my branding from the very beginning, I'm like, oh my gosh, can I delete these things? But it's all a process. And you have to start somewhere. So do that for sure. Don't be afraid of that. And then I would say that, just work your butt off. Like, the one thing that I feel like most people don't realize until they get in this business is how hard it is to get started. And you really feel like you are working like a dog in the beginning with no results. And you just have to stand in, you have to be in that. You have to go through that to be able to get to the other side. It's not going to come easy. Work your butt off. And with that, every single client that you have, like, treat them like family. Make sure that you do a good job with them. Make sure that if you care and you're doing a good job and you're doing everything you can, even when you don't have all the answers, you're going to succeed, and your clients will feel that. It doesn't matter if you don't have all the answers right away. That's okay. You're going to learn as you go.
Yeah. So what makes you good at social media? Why are you good at, what do you do specifically on there that makes you stand out?
I think that in the beginning, it was the branding. I feel like when I got in, 5 years ago at this point almost, which is crazy, it wasn't very common for agents to have their own brand. It was one of those things where, I even was kind of, in that struggle bus with, not wanting to ruffle the feathers of people above me, of branding myself. And obviously make sure you're compliant. You have to make sure you're compliant, but doing it in a way that's tasteful, but also like you are your brand, and what it comes down to is I looked at it from the branding as like a logo perspective in the beginning, and that's really morphed over time, that it's really so much more about your service. It's about your messaging you're putting out there. It's everything that you present to the public is your brand. So I feel like because I've been so consistent since the beginning on that, on my messaging, on, even just when it comes to like fonts and styles and colors and things like that, like having that consistency makes it to where people recognize you. And the coolest thing that happened to me in the beginning was I had friends. I was young. I was 23, 24 when I got licensed. And I had friends who I knew from, college that weren't really seeing me as like the professional realtor necessarily at that point in time, because I just had a different, life at that point. And having some of those people recognize me as Kelsey the Realtor, that was my hashtag in the beginning. And that's where the whole KTR thing came from, Kelsey the Realtor, KTR. Yeah,
I was wondering what that was.
I didn't realize that. There was like, is that your name, initials? But yeah, so that's where that came from. And I remember the first time that someone was like, oh, hey, Kelsey the Realtor, how's it going? I was like, oh, you just call me by my hashtag. Like, it was like this like huge like epiphany for me that like it was working. But I think that consistency is really what kind of worked.
And Kelsey, one thing like I've always really admired about you, and we've gotten to talk about this quite a bit, especially in the last year, which I'm super thankful for. But one thing I love about your brand and just your theme overall is you're so intentional with what you do. There's never something that you put out into the world that's not a really great story that you're telling. It's never like, well, we sold X amount of houses this month and now we're on to the next. It's never like, it's very intentional. You're a really, really, really good storyteller with everything that you post. And that's so important. It's not just about being consistent, which you are. It's more about being really thoughtful and purposeful, intentional, because you're so right. Your brand is so much more than a logo. It's literally who you are as a realtor, as a person. You do an amazing job at that. I think you sell yourself for sure. Yeah.
I appreciate that. And that's something that I've actually worked really hard on over the past year, especially. I had a real estate coach that has helped me really just like really work on that throughout the last year. And it's cool to see the progress of that and see how it can affect your messaging and everything and just engagement with people, because it gives you purpose. You're not just posting fluff content just to post content. It's what am I trying to get out of this? What is the message? Who am I trying to reach? And really getting that kind of like fine-tuned messaging with your content you're putting out there. It's a whole different ballgame, and it's so much harder. It's so much harder.
At least with the listings I see, the KTR group list, it's really interesting to me that the brand that you create kind of attracts your future clientele, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it looks like the content that you post, it continuously gets more and more and more on brand to the KTR group, which is really, really interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's not unintentional. It's something that you can't always control it for sure. But even when it comes to attracting the agents for our team, like what type of agent are we looking for our team? It's all of that. It's clientele, it's agents, it's, all of that. You attract what you're putting out there. So yeah, that's awesome.
And speaking of just attracting agents to your team, and I know you have 6 members right now, and that's pretty rapid growth, by the way, for just being a new team as of January 1st. That's awesome. So what do you feel as like a rainmaker or a team leader owner? What do you feel like your biggest piece of value is that you provide to your team?
So, it's interesting because I'm one of those people that I don't like to do things the way that everyone tells me to do them. So, you've got your model of what a typical kind of traditional team looks like. And I would say, are anything but traditional. And just the way that we even have, split structured and things like that. I feel like for us, the biggest value proposition is the support and the leadership. And it's so much more about the culture that we've created as a group than it is about like, you're not coming to our team because I'm going to pass you, 20 leads a month. It's not about that. It's about our biggest value is that we're trying to grow other agents in our team and build their businesses alongside us. And I think that that's something that I was really passionate about from the very beginning when I was even just thinking of the idea of building a team. I never really wanted to be on a traditional team as a solo agent. So I wanted to make sure that I created a team that I would want to be on. That would attract me if I was looking for a team 3 years ago. And I think that that's really where I've kind of found our niche. And also the agents that we've had are selling good amounts of business and they're doing great and they're building their businesses. And I don't see them leaving anytime soon. It's not like something where you have that quick turnover because, they see something, grass is always greener kind of a thing. I don't know if I answered that completely, but I would say it's more about the culture and more about the leadership, more about the everything besides the actual lead structure, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. So I'm curious to hear. So let's just say, I stink at social media, right? And so if you were like, hey, CJ, like you stink at social media, you should do these 3 things. And I'm not saying me specific, but if you're talking to like Joe Schmo agent out there, or where do you see like agents, where do they make mistakes that you'll go, why are you doing that? You should be doing this, this, and this.
All right. 3 things. Let me think about that for a second. Cause I want to make sure that I get the things. I think the first thing is making it all about yourself. I feel like I see that so much where the agents, all they ever do is post solds and, numbers and stats and things like that. And you have to realize that who you're trying to reach, your audience, is most likely someone you want to be a client. Are they going to be attracted to someone who's all about themselves, or are they going to be attracted to someone who's all about the client and the customer? So I feel like that's like huge mistake number one, is making it just about you. And I think
so what do you do to combat that in your world?
So I would say, like, kind of like Kate was saying with the messaging, everything that you're putting out there, think about what was special about that like specific situation. If you are posting a sold, make it about the client, make it about their story, make it about what made it special for them. If you are posting something because you do want to kind of show off something that you have succeeded in, which is totally fine, and you have to do that too, I think you can still make it about the story and about the, the trial or the, trial and tribulation, like just that kind of thing. Not so much about just like, hey, look at me, there has to be some kind of content behind it. Be a human, really, is what it comes down to. Don't be this like fake, perfect, all the time real estate agent that everyone always thinks that, real estate is so easy and perfect, and it's not,
It's not?
Right?
What do you mean it's not?
It's hard.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, that's good. That's good. What else do realtors do?
I would say when it comes to branding, biggest pet peeve is just like inconsistency or looking like someone used paint, or something like that as their photo editor. Like, if you're going to put something out there, realize that what you're putting out there does reflect what your brand is going to be. And if you're saying that you have this amazing listing, but the photos are terrible, or, you put just one word over it and it says like new listing, and it's not professional. I think that really, in a market where you have to be super competitive for listings, and I mean, clients just in general, I feel like that is one thing that people don't realize. It does play an effect, if you're
my biggest pet peeves with realtors is that most of their photos stink, which it's like the easiest thing to do. And I'm not mad about it, because it makes us look better. But yeah, when they have bad photos, it drives me crazy.
One thing you said too, Kelsey, that I think is like where it hits home, is that it's not that it just like doesn't look that great. You said it's not professional. And it's like, sometimes I feel like when I see posts or social media campaigns and they don't look like their best, I'm like, what are you advertising as yourself? Mm-hmm. Like, you are a professional real estate agent. So like, what are you trying to advertise? I think that's like, that hits it. Cause it's like, why is it really a pet peeve? It's because it's like, it's so not the standard of our industry.
And that's what they're hiring, people are looking you up on social media. They're looking, I mean, I tell my listing appointments when I go into one all the time, I'm like, hey, my resume is my social media. If you want to check out what I do, how I work with my clients, what my clients say about me, look at my social media and you will see the proof there, and so I feel like it's so important. And that's where the consistency comes in. It's being able to point people in that direction so they can see that, that's your success story, and I think that's also where they get to see, do you care about the money or do you care about the client? But yeah, it's definitely a pet peeve. And I think that, as we are in a market where, this is a little tangent, I feel like, but as we're in a market where we are selling houses without even thinking about it because there's just nothing available, it's easy, I think, for agents to not give as much as what they would if it was a market where you had to really work for a house to sell. And I feel like that's something that, no matter what, for me, I'm always going to give that same level of service regardless, because again, it's my brand. If I have a vacant house, it's going to get staged unless there's some extravagant reasons why it can't, it's going to be staged because that's a part of my brand. And people know that when they're paying for my service, if they have a vacant home, they're going to have a really beautiful home with all these really pretty pictures of this staged furniture in it, And so it's like, I don't care if I know that this house can sell overnight without any pictures of the inside of the house. I'm still going to do those things because that's what I say that I am, that's what I'm selling. So I think to me, that's really important.
Yeah, I love that. So we're almost out of time here. Give us what's one piece of advice that you give people on your team, or that when you talk to agents, or what's one big thing that someone can do better in this industry to make more money?
One thing. Give me a second.
I know.
I'm giving you these like really specific.
Right. I know exactly. And like, make sure I'm actually taking advantage of this. And
Yeah. Well, the goal is like, to have someone, I like nuggets. Like I like meat and potatoes. They can go, oh my gosh. Like I heard Kelsey say this on that Realtors Winning live stream. And that was awesome. That was, like, I want them to come up to you in a month and go, holy cow. Like that, like literally changed the way that I do everything in my business.
Yeah.
Right? And we've had that from these live streams. I've had people come up to me and go, wow, that interview with so-and-so was amazing. I learned so much. I never even knew that was a thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that for me, it's when I look back at the past 5 years and where I started to where I'm at now, like, I feel like every single year has been a checkpoint for me. I feel like there's always been, growth every single year in what I'm doing. And maybe it's not necessarily numbers. Maybe it's some other part of my business. I think the biggest thing is you always have to be evaluating your business. And one of the things this year that's been crazy for me is just how much change has happened in my business this year. From starting the team to bringing my husband on board to, having this baby come in a few weeks to where that's also changing how I'm going to, operate the business. Be okay with change, because with change, that also means growth. And it's really hard sometimes to be like, I'm consistent, I'm good, I'm making this money. You can always make more. You can always not just make more, but have a better life behind that too. And I think that's the really important thing, is just like knowing that you have to evaluate and look at it and actually like pinpoint what you're doing right and well, and what can still get better.
Yeah, I love that. There's one of my like favorite lines everywhere. It's that realtors, I'm going to butcher this. They're losing so slowly. They think they're winning. Like, so their business isn't really growing, but it's every day it's not growing, or they're not pushing the business forward. It's actually going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And most people don't realize that. So it's that constant push. And I love how you said it's change, because that's so true. Change, especially if you're going to go the team route or have any type
and you
of,
might take a step backwards to be able to go forward. I think that's the thing too, is like, for me, I mean, I can't possibly sell 70 houses a year and run a team and have a family. And it's, to me, that's not a quality of life that I want, And so it's realizing that some things will have to give in order for other things to grow, and it's realizing like that's the hard part, but it's the coolest part about this business, is that you can consistently grow with it. So
yeah, I love that. That's great. So I just followed you on Instagram. Is that what's your social media method of choice?
It's slowly turning into Instagram. It was Facebook. I still feel like Facebook gets the most results, I would say, as far as just interaction and whatnot, and the biggest audience, but I just enjoy Instagram more. I feel like it's a little more natural and organic at this point.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it. So where can someone get a hold of you? How can they follow you? How can they go to your website? Where's all that?
Yeah. So if you wanted to follow me, you can do Kelsey the Realtor, Facebook or Instagram. If you want to follow the team, the KTR group, literally just the KTR group, Facebook and Instagram. And then our website is theKTRgroup.com. So check out any of those, pretty simple.
And so it's Kelsey the Realtor. That's the KTR. I never knew that.
Yep. Yeah. And it's funny because it's evolved over time. So if you ever go back years, you'll see kind of as like how the evolution happened. But yeah, and always message me. That's totally fine. Instagram or Facebook, you can reach me.
That's cool. So what's next in store for you? What's down, what's in the next 2, 3, 4 years for you? What do you want to do?
So really big goals for us is I feel like our trip to Northern Michigan was just like, all right, how can we create this life to where we're like not at home all the time, traveling more, doing more with our family, things like that. So it's really about growing the team at this point in time, and growing it in a really high quality way, so really perfecting the craft of supporting the agents and the training and all of that kind of stuff. In the next 2 to 4 years, probably 1, 2 kids, and starting to really be able to support and still sell, how I want to sell, but also be able to kind of just leverage and have other sources of income, coming in. So really build out the business that way, not all about sales.
I love that. That's great. Well, this has been awesome. This has been really cool getting to know you and seeing in your personality a little bit. Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have you on again sometime soon.
For sure.
Cool. All right, Kelsey, thanks so much. Have a good day.
You too.